Let's see. Can one knit with mittens? Ooh, it makes tensioning. I don't know that I can do it.
I feel like we need to discuss why this is happening.
I claimed that I could, but I don't know that I can. Maybe if I, no.
So we should just...
We haven't started.
I already started it. Hello.
Welcome to the Knit Girls.
This is episode 360, and Laura complained about being cold up here, and I challenged her to try to knit with mittens on.
Look, I got like 4 stitches done. I feel like that is success.
I'm not certain that 4 stitches equals success. It is very slow going for you.
Now I've gotten a groove. Don't throw off my groove.
Knitting with mittens. You are the man. What can I say?
And they're too small for me, too.
They are. Because I have little short, fat troll hands.
I wouldn't go that far.
Or something.
Look, I am super successful at this. I'm going to stop in a second, but I am like rocking the crap out of this.
So this is episode 360 of the Knit Girls.
I can't focus on other things. I'm knitting with my mittens.
That's Laura. I'm Leslie. She's Lala on Ravelry. You don't call me Les on Ravelry. It is August the 14th, 2017. And I think your knitting with mittens career is almost over.
I have some stitches left.
Oh, we're finishing the row. That's happening.
We started the row. We'll finish the row.
Okay, Wheezy.
My gauge is going to be so freaking off. Like,
hopefully this wasn't an increase row.
No, that's coming up next.
You forgot about how cold it is, though, didn't you?
Because I'm laughing so hard. Alright, I think I'm actually getting fiber for, like, I'm spearing your mittens with the needle.
Yeah.
Alright. Thank you for the loan.
Of the tiny mittens. I wonder if they actually fit me.
I bet you they do. You have smaller.
Well, I have shorter hands. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna fit you.
They're fatter, but they're shorter.
Will fit.
Yeah.
Did you want content about us trying on
mittens?
It's
something that I knit a long time ago, and this might be the first time I've actually
What pattern are they?
I don't know. It's something with an L.
What yarn is that?
Hazel knits.
That's pretty.
Worsted. Entice, maybe?
Entice is a good one.
No, Entice is the cashmere fingering weight. Or maybe this is Cadence, which is the DK.
Could be Cadence. I don't know.
I got it at Fiber Space in DC when
They do trunk shows there every once in a while.
This was when I was in Baltimore for
your work
casino
thing.
opening.
Yeah,
yes.
That was a ways ago.
Yeah, that was.
You know, it's not making me warmer having my soda right there. Cuddling my soda is not making me warmer.
So this is usually a show where we talk about knitting.
Sometimes.
Laura has a couple things to show, and she has no spinning. This might be the first time in like a year that that's happened.
No, that's not true at all. That's not true at all. I have no spinning all the time. It's just in the summer months I have lots of spinning.
Well, you usually have something fiber related to talk about. Like,
I processed some wool, but I didn't bring it to show because
Yeah.
I'm not all the way done. I'm trying to process like I told Leslie yesterday, I'm going to process wool for an hour every night. Have I processed any wool since then? Nope. But I was going strong last week. I got around 10 ounces of bats done out of a Shetland. So
I'm very distracted by your boobs today. They're like high and tight today. And they're like up there.
They're on display for
They
once. They're usually not.
Yeah.
I'm doing laundry at my house, in case you needed to know that. And I bought a new shirt from Old Navy that, like, to wear to work, it's going to have to,
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if this is a teenager-friendly shirt. I mean, they'll love it.
I mean, I have a top on
underneath,
but no, I think if I wear it with, like, a shawl, like, here, I'm stealing your shawl. Like, I can totally rock it with your asymmetrical shawl, which means you should give it to me.
Striped study. Oh, no, that's birch sap.
Yeah, like, I could totally rock it. See?
Okay. You look lovely.
Fold my hands, look ladylike. Look like I'm somewhat mature.
We were talking about that in the book we're going to review later. One of the pieces looks like something that you would see Jane Austen style character wear.
You totally would. Like to cover their fluffy bits.
Yeah, fluffy bits. So knitting, what are you knitting?
I'm knitting on some socks, yo. I know that's a shock. If you've watched the show before. Stripy socks, what? So I'm knitting on some Desert Vista Dye Works, also shocker. This is the Disneyland colorway. I just started increasing on one of the sides, the side that I'm coming to, for the heel. So I am doing Wendy Johnson's Toe Up Gusset heel, which is my favorite heel ever. Not usually for stripy socks because it does distort the stripes a little bit, but it's just my favorite heel ever. This yarn has shimmer to it. Can you see the shimmer? I think you can if I move it. Yeah. So this is a sparkle base, and I'm enjoying it. It's very pastel-y for me.
It is a little.
But I'm digging it. This is what it looks like. Hey, we backed a new ball winder on Kickstarter.
We did, and I would share it with all of you, but it's already fully backed.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Good. So they'll be taking our money, and then we'll get one, and then we'll talk about it. We'll do a little review about it.
But it's called I think it's the Tug.
Yeah, it's something like that. It's by these people who make products for weaving, like warping.
Yeah, it
reels.
Would be a competitor for the Nancy's Knit Knacks one, although it would be significantly less expensive.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How much was your?
Because with the base and the ball winder, those are each several $100s.
Well, I know the ball winder is $250, and
I feel like the ball winder is more than that.
I know we paid $250 for the ball winder.
But we got a discount.
I think we did.
So
it might be $300.
And the base I know is over $300. I think it's $395.
Okay, and this new one's gonna be around $400, $500, something like that. Anyway, so maybe I'll be able to make adequate balls. Yeah. That's like the test. Can I make adequate balls? Like other people could make balls just fine, but can I make adequate balls? That is the test. Because
Laura's Inadequate Balls episode title.
Oh, I thought we were going to make it knitting with mittens and kittens. No, I'm just distressed. So this is it in the ball. I obviously have a lot left. And it's like the 14th of the month. So look, this is like half a sock and it's the 14th of the month. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm using Nova Platina size 0s. And, I don't know, my gauge is probably like 7 stitches to the inch. Something like that. I cast on 64 for my socks. Always. So, that is the first thing that I'm working on. The second thing I'm working on, I didn't even bother, I only have 2 things, so I didn't even bother to get them out of the bags. Oh, and that's living in my National Parks bag by Amy Beth. And then in my mustache bag by Whimsy Stitches. Ooh, they're doing another kit, and it's got foxes.
Cool.
But I did not get it. Because there has to be some restraint sometime.
Sorry, Michael's getting on a plane, so I'm going to tell him to fly safe.
So, these are some Saki slippers. I can't see, because you covered the show notes. Ha ha ha. Saki slippers. Look, I knew things.
You guessed things.
I guessed things accurately. So these are the same slippers that I finished last week for my sister. And then she doesn't watch the show.
She's got important things to do.
Pinball wizards. Wizardry. Anyway.
Don't be jealous of her boogie.
I am jealous of her buggy. And her pinball machines. Dude, there would be no knitting in my house if I had pinball machines. Like,
you wouldn't have space for yours.
That's true.
Or your stable of wheels.
Yes, that's true. No, I totally would have space.
The whole garage.
The whole garage would become like a pinball circus area. Anyway.
I noticed that the pinball machines go in the garage, but not the spinning wheels.
No, because I have a naughty cat. I feel like pinball machines would be easier to clean around than I can't handle if he... Anyway. Naughty cat. Look, I have a Starbucks stitch marker. Someone at SSK gave that to me. Isn't it the cutest?
It is the cutest.
She had little eggs. This was cool. So she did the stitch marker swap, which I did not do, but people are generous and give me stitch markers anyways. And she had like Easter eggs, plastic eggs, and you pulled one.
Yep, I got one too. I got a Starbucks cup too.
And I got scissors in mine too, because I got an extra fancy egg. I was a winner chicken dinner. Literally. So, I got this cool stitch. I love this stitch marker. It's one of my favorites. And I don't know how she got the logo so wee and perfect.
I don't either. It must have been a shrinky dink of some sort.
I don't know.
Or she's got a magnifying glass and a horsehair
She's amazing. Horsehair brush. Like
Horse...
one single hair. Yeah. Okay. I've never heard that term before.
And like miniature painting and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then these are my broken needles.
Ganked.
They're so funny. They're signatures, but my cat tried to eat them. And
who at 16 apparently has jaws of steel.
He does. He doesn't have very many teeth, but his jaws are adequately doing the job. He'll be 17 in February. Crazy Humberto. Crazy. Anyway, this is some Into the World handspun. Let me show you the rest. The cool and not so cool thing about handspun is it like changes as you knit it.
Mm-hmm.
So like one of these slippers will like look totally different than the other, but that's cool. And I think this is Romney. Feels like Romney.
Maybe. It's a pretty soft Romney if it is.
Perhaps it might be Shetland. I don't know. Romney is my fave. So that is the other thing that I'm working on. The end. Your turn.
Oh. Okay. So I am only knitting on one thing right now, and that is, I talked about it last week. I'm knitting a top-down raglan sweater out of fingering weight, and I wanted to knit a striped one, but I couldn't find in my pattern library of things I already owned, because I'm trying this year to knit things I already own, and I've been doing pretty good with it so far. It doesn't help that I have a really extensive pattern library, but I guess it does help. But so I'm
I was
using.
gonna say that helps a lot.
I'm using. Oh, there it goes. The pattern is called So Faded, and it's by Andrea Mowry, who is the genius behind all the faded patterns that use speckled yarns and sort of fade into each other. She's got a mystery knit along going on right now.
She does. So does Casapinka.
Mm-hmm. So I am not. It's got like a texture on the sleeve of garter. I'm not doing that, and it also is blocks of speckles that are sort of faded into each other, and I'm not doing that either. I'm basically just using this for stitch counts and general directions. And I'm substituting it with striped yarn. So the red, or I guess it's more of like a burgundy, maroon. Yeah. This is Jill Draper Makes Stuff. Esopas,
something like that.
And the colorway is Syrah, Syrah. And I got this at Fiber Space. And then there's this, which is, oh gosh.
Old Rusted Chair.
Oh, is it? Okay, yeah. In the Kind of Magic. Yeah. Old Rusted Chair, which is a Nashville dyer. And
she
a
just
Kind
moved
of Magic.
to Nashville, I think.
And so it's sort of a light gray with speckles of orange, teal, and kind of a fuchsia. And some spots of green. And then the other, this is Northbound Knitting in the Monsoon colorway. And
are you going to show the piece?
Yeah, it's out. It's right here. I was just showing the yarns first. So I actually think that I chose two contrasting yarns that are too similar, but it is what it is. I'm not ripping it out.
I think it looks fine though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it looks bad. It doesn't have quite the effect I was going for, but I have plenty more yarns and I can knit more. So
that's my fault because I chose the second color.
Yeah, it really is. No, it's I think it looks nice. I'm just it's not as
it's
contrasting.
hard to find stuff that goes with that maroon though.
So it's top down and raglan style. So right now, even though it's hard to tell because it's all scrunched up on a small needle, I finished increasing for the sleeves because I'm doing actual math.
No way.
So I took this and steamed out the back.
Because you didn't do a gauge swatch.
So I steamed out the back earlier today when it was about an inch shorter. And took a measurement, and I'm about a half. So she calls for 6 1/4 stitches to the inch, and I'm at 5 1/2 stitches to the inch. So I just did some math. I did it when there were still few enough stitches that I could adjust if I needed to. And I did some math and made sure that the measurement around my arms would work.
Did you do depth here?
I did. I did depth here and then the largest part of my bicep, because as I looked, and is a common problem it seems in raglan style sweaters, the armhole depth is off. And I think it's because the Craft Yarn Council has general measurements out there that a lot of designers use, because not every designer has the time or money or whatever to hire somebody to knit it in every size. And even if they did, every size 20 person is not the same.
So you're talking about when people increase for bust, then they're increasing and it's creating a larger depth.
It gives it a saggy spot
arms
here underneath the arms. And so I didn't want that. And so I chatted with Amy Beth and we did some back and forth. And she helped me figure out numbers. So
she's a genius.
She is. She has altered almost every sweater she's knit, and they always look great on her. And I hate her, and I love her.
She's your internet wife.
She is, and she's my fat lady guru, especially when it comes to clothing. So I still have got another 3 increases from my little stitch marker here. I have another 3 stripes from there to go before I am done increasing and can split for the sleeves. So I'm still knitting across the sleeves, I'm just not increasing.
Yeah.
And because the way this is written, your beginning of row happens right here.
Yeah.
Because that's where you've joined it in the round. It starts right here. But that doesn't really work with stripes because they end up not matching exactly. And I did try to do jogless stripes and all that. And I'll go back and fiddle this because it's just about an inch where it's not quite perfect here.
So where did you move your color change?
So I moved the color change to underneath the arm.
Yeah.
Because
that's what I would do as well.
Yeah, because then it'll just be right down the side.
It'll give you a side seam illusion too.
Yeah, and if it's, I mean, I'm still working to do a jogless jog, but there it'll be less noticeable anyway. So I did move the join over there, and the edge rolling is annoying me a little bit, but you come back and you pick up and do ribbing.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So I'm dealing with it. I'm knitting this on size 4mm needles, and I'm enjoying knitting it. The only thing I'm not enjoying is juggling 3 different strands of yarn. That gets old, but I'm only changing every 2 rows, and after I've split for the sleeves, there's no shaping in the sweater.
Yep.
So it's just miles and miles of stockinettes. So
and at least the changing in the colors will give you something interesting.
Yes. And I'm actually thinking that what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit this elbow length because I think I'll get more wear out of it than if it was a long sleeve.
Yeah.
But I'm also going to knit like cuffs that have a little button, a few buttons around the edge so that I can button it in to the ribbing on the
Man, it'd be cool if you did like stripes up here and then just did like solid for the rest of it.
Yeah, I don't know if I have enough yarn to do that.
Yeah. Just a thought.
Yeah, maybe in the next one.
Yeah.
Or I could use a special skein or something.
Yeah. Hand spun.
Because I do want to knit more fingering weight sweaters because I feel like they're light enough that I will get more wear out of them because I run hot. So like a worsted weight sweater, I'm going to wear for like 10 minutes and then I'm not going to be able to wear it anymore. So there's that.
Yes, color change. Sorry, I get excited by color changes.
And then
it means I'm making progress.
I am working on something else.
No, you're not. What else are you working on?
It's Inkle weaving.
Oh, that's right.
So
look at that. That's pretty.
I got an Inkle loom.
What does an Inkle loom look like?
So, I'll talk about what's on this later. But this is what an Inkle loom looks like.
It looks very complicated.
It's really not. It's just like a solid, you got a solid side and then you got all these pegs.
And you got it from Shocked.
Yeah, well, I got a Shocked brand one, and this one I paid for, and then I got a fancier one that the Knit Girls paid for.
Oh.
It's like a, it was less expensive than this one, but it was more like a custom shop, like a mom and pop shop.
Yeah.
So it's like 4 more weeks before I get it. But the Shocked one's really nice, and it's got this adjustable tension knob, which comes in handy. So anyway, Inkle looms are primarily for weaving like bands. So you can weave long, thin bands on it. So you can make leashes or belts or guitar straps or camera straps, or you can weave bands for clothing.
Could you do it near enough that you could do like shoelaces?
You can. It all you can make it as like. The width is sort of restricted by the pegs, and there
you can make it as near as you want.
And there is a guy named John Malarkey who does. He has an interweave class. He might have more than one, but I bought one.
And, like a video.
Yeah, like a 2-part HD video that you can download.
Yeah.
And he's famous for doing shoelaces, which I think you end up making out of like sewing thread or something.
Oh wow.
That's how thin it is. But the process is exactly the same as if you were knitting something more complex.
Weaving.
So first I started, okay, let me start this again. I knew nothing about Inkle weaving until maybe a week ago. Maybe a little longer than that. At SSK, Jerry Brock, who's one of our vendors and who makes these beautiful spindles.
Yeah.
She also
Turkish spindles primarily that are amazing.
And she also does like handmade like writing pens and other sort of
woodcraft.
Yeah, really nice things. And so this year she started doing some Inkle loom weaving accessories.
Was it card weaving or Inkle?
Card weaving,
okay.
Which you do on an Inkle loom.
Okay.
But you can do it with a backstrap loom, which is a fancy belt essentially and a wall, but you could also do it on an Inkle loom. That's the thing, it's like learning a whole new language. So the first thing that I tried was just a simple band that I think I'm going to turn into a leash. The edges are still unfinished because I just cut it off the loom maybe 2 days ago and haven't had the time to finish it. So this is just a simple band. There
would be a good camera strap too.
Are 3 colors in it, and it ended up, I don't know how long it is.
Yeah.
Like,
go
maybe,
you.
Maybe like 8 feet, something like that. I just warped the loom as far as it would go, and Judy of Shocked has a great free video out there on how to warp the Inkle loom, and it's on YouTube. And so this one was very simple, and it only involved you manipulating the shed, which is what you pass your yarn through, or your thread through.
It's created by the warp.
The warp thread, or the weft thread. The warp is the up and down. Okay. The weft is the back and forth. There's probably fancier terms, but yeah. So there's a shed, and this is the same as on a rigid heddle, where you would physically move the heddle up or down.
Yeah.
You do the same thing on an Inkle loom, but you just do it with your fingers, and there are strings tied. Anyway, you're not going to understand it until you get out there and look at it. So I thought, okay, that's cool, I can do that. And it wasn't super difficult. I'm still struggling getting the edges to look nice and neat, because they're not at all. But it's my first piece, so I'll figure.
We should do Instagram Live of you.
Yeah.
Showing it off. That'd be cool.
So I decided, well, that's easy. So now I'll do card weaving, which is like going from a rigid heddle to
a 12 harness.
Like a 12 harness loom, like floor loom. So because each of these cards, this is why it's called card weaving. It's also card weaving and tablet weaving are the same thing. They just used to be made out of clay, like tablets, and now it's just paper cards. So they're the same thing. So each one of these is like its own heddle. So there are 20 of them in this particular pattern. So this is like a 20 shaft loom. And each one of these has 4 holes. And in some cases there are 4 separate colors per card. And if you turn them one way, one thing happens. If you turn them the other way.
So when you're talking about turning, you're talking about like physically turning them like that?
And I started with a simple pattern, so when I say turning, they all turn at the same time. But there are patterns where 1 turns one way, 5 turn the other way, 3 turn this way. So I this was from the John Malarkey Interweave video download, and this is what it looks like.
That's pretty.
For where I am right now. And
yeah, we should totally take a video of you doing it later. We could do an Instagram live where people ask questions and then we can save it.
As long as you don't expect me to be able to answer them all, because I'm still learning. Like, I thought that card weaving was the same as just regular Inkle loom weave. Like, I didn't realize there was a difference until I started to warp it, and I was like, but then how does this happen? And yeah, so I've messed up a few things in order to figure out a few things.
Well, I think you learn from mistakes.
Yeah.
Says the person who's supposed to be counting her heel stitches and is not.
I didn't need a new hobby by any means, and it's definitely not going to take over for other things, but it is pretty quick. At least the plain band weaving. I think I got this done in once it was warped now, I think I got it done in 4 hours. And the warping just involved counting, which meant it took me 4 times as long as it did.
I should have you come over and help me warp my loom.
Yeah. I'd be happy
and then
to.
I would actually weave, maybe.
Maybe.
If other people did the hard work. Perhaps.
It's not that it's hard. I think you just don't enjoy it.
I don't enjoy warping, so I don't weave, because warping is an essential part of weaving, unless I count other people into warping for me. My mom. I'm
enjoying it, although the more complex patterns definitely still are a ways out for me. But I'm enjoying trying it. I did get it because I want to weave my own shoelaces because they look super fancy.
And then we could go to the Converse outlet and get Converse.
And look so fancy with our little
yes.
Yeah, so that's what I've been working on mostly this week.
I finished something.
You finished something. I totally skipped that.
No, that's fun. No, you are still in progress. Sorry, my hair's been up all day, but I'm putting on a hat, so you won't have to see it long. Alright. I love how crazy this hat is. So this would be it kind of if I was Harry Potter, this would be, I could make it a wizard hat. I could totally do it. But it's supposed to go like that. So this is the River District hat. I actually shortened it.
Really?
By an inch. So you're supposed to go to 10 inches and then start the crown decreases, and I went to 9 because it's kind of crazy long, as you could see earlier. I like it a lot, actually. So this is out of my hand spun. I'm just going to continually fuss with it until I get it into a way that I like. So this is out of my hand spun. Let me pop it up so you can really see the pattern. It does look like a wizard's hat. It makes me so happy.
It is rather tall.
So it's the River District hat. It's I paid for a pattern. I think the pattern was around $6. Again, the modification that I made is I shortened it. It's a really simple pattern to follow. The one thing that she doesn't say is she kind of implies that you're doing, with the decreases, you're decreasing every repeat, but she just says go to the marker. So I started and I just went to the end marker, and then I decreased one, and I was like, well, this would take me all day if I'm just decreasing 1 stitch per row, so I had to figure that out a little bit. I'm sure it says it in the actual directions. If I read...
Yeah, Laura likes to skim.
Then that would be awesome. This is I knit on size 5s and 6s. It's got a rolled brim. It's probably got puppy hair in it. Oh, are you...
It's a piece of gold something. It might be part of
it's my orange, yeah.
Okay, I'll stop trying to pick it out.
So there's sari silk on this hand spun, so every once in a while there's a dark blue.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Or an orange. There's one section that's got a bit of orange. Let me take it off and then I'll show y'all. So it's out of Knit Spin Farm hand spun. So I spun it. It was one of Joanna Springs Bats. That's the creative genius behind Knit Spin Farm. I spun it during Tour de Fleece, and now I'm trying to knit up a lot of the things that I spun during Tour de Fleece. There's the orange that was bothering Leslie.
It wasn't bothering me. I just thought it was a stray.
So it uses a welting pattern, which is really... There it is. Can you see the orange? There you go. But there's also like a dark blue, silk section too. So it's a great pattern for hand spun because it kind of plays with the hand spun. This was a woolen spun, which makes it nice and lofty and airy. The hat pattern, what I do really like about it is it's easy to adjust, and it came in like baby up to adult men's sizes. So it comes in a lot of different sizes. And you can make it slouchier, obviously. Or you can wear it like a wizard hat. And I'm usually not like a huge fan of the rolled brim, but it works out nicely. Quite happy with it, and it's cold in here.
It is a little bit chilly up here.
A little bit chilly, so. But it's nice and warm and lofty, and I might actually keep it for me. I have like 45 hats, but I like it. You should.
It suits you.
Like it lots. So that is the River District hat. That's the only thing that I've knit. And it's got other bits of silk in it, so you can see that like shiny bit there. And because it was woolen spun by me, it's thick and thin in parts, but I think the stitch pattern kind of hides that thick and thinness.
I think it looks nice.
Thank you. And it does have crazy silk parts. There's some orange down there too. Love that little pop of orange. So that is the River District hat. I might knit another one. I have like 6 skeins of similar hand spun, so I might knit a bunch of different, and then everyone can have a hat for Christmas. A River District hat. We'll see. I might get bored by that point.
Yeah, you'll probably change the patterns.
To get through like 2 repeats was, and you can see 2, 3. It's supposed to be 3, 2.
What?
You see it? So it's supposed to be 3. You see the 3 purl ridges?
Oh, 2. Okay. Yeah, I would
3.
never have seen that if you hadn't.
2. So that's why it might stay with me too.
I would never have.
It's because I like on that first one, I totally jumped the gun and I was like, yes, it's time to do this increase decrease section. It was not. I had 2 more rows to do. So anyway, each little repeat was like 1.5 inches, which is another reason why I shortened it, because I didn't want to add another 1.5 inches to it versus.
I don't think it needed it.
Oh. You're a wizard, Harry. It's amazing.
So Laura has no spinning.
I have no spinning.
Unless you count the hat, which was spinning.
It's other spinning.
But we do have a book review.
We do. I'm totally wearing this hat like this for the rest of the show.
Rock on.
You're not even going to see me because it's going to be a book review.
Totally
Yay!
Switching it around.
So this is Mosaic and Lace Knits. It's by Barbara Benson. This book was sent to us to review from the lovely Barbara Benson. She sent it with Gail's art, and Gail actually has some of her yarns featured in this book, along with some indie dyers. It's a nice combination of indie and commercially available yarn, in my opinion. So this is the combination of mosaic and lace knitting. There's a section. Leslie's trying to make us appear in the corner.
Like you guys care that we're actually here.
You can see like the top of our heads, and that's it.
Move that thread. That's making me crazy.
This thread?
Yes.
Alright. So it's yay, book reviews. It's a combination of lace and mosaic. So mosaic, if you're not familiar with it, is slip stitch color work, and this combines the two in really interesting ways. There are 20 patterns in the book, but what's really helpful is the section at the front. So when it says getting started, if we look at the table of contents with mosaic and lace, the whole first like 6 or 7 pages, no, it's from 1 to 14. The first 14 pages are all how to do mosaic. And one thing that I really like is this like carrying up the side technique. So she goes into like how to carry up the side, how to choose your yarn, how to listen to your yarn, and all the techniques, how to read charts, all those things that you need to know. I think this is my favorite pattern in the book.
Yeah, I like it because it looks like it would work up really quick.
It's out of a bulky yarn. It's called Single Flight. It's a basic mosaic pattern that you can give the technique a try without being too invested in it. It would work really, really quickly on size 11 needles in the rounds. It uses Patton's classic wool roving and Patton's color wool, so some commercially available, not too expensive yarn that you could find at any big box store. The charts are nice and big. I'm not going to show you the charts because that's basically the pattern, but they take my word for it. They are nice and big. We also have a scarf. There's a different motif that goes down the middle and then a lace pattern that goes on the side. I am going to mispronounce all the names of these.
Oh.
Leslie's trying to fix shadow problems.
Yeah, that's just not going to happen.
There's the Love Child. This is the Gale's Art Yak and Silk yarn, which is really, really pretty. It's a mosaic and lace shawl. One thing that this book doesn't have is it does not have any schematics, but it does tell you the finished measurements. Yeah. So while there aren't schematics, there are finished measurements. Another thing that I like, you guys can't see that, is on the bottom of the pages, it tells you what pattern you're on, even if you're not on like the header page. So you can see easily. For me, I can flip on the side and say, oh look, Sailing Diamonds is next. So this is Sailing Diamonds. It's a tam slouchy hat. It is one size fits most. And most of I think all the items in here are just one size. This, I think, is amazing. It is called Your Princess is in Another Castle, which is a video game reference. Is that Mario Brothers?
It is Super Mario Brothers.
Yes. And she says it reminds her of like the 8-bit gaming graphics. It is kind of like a cowl shawl done out of a bulky weight.
Yeah, and for anybody who isn't familiar with mosaic knitting, it's kind of like Fair Isle, except you're only ever using one color at a time.
Yep, you're slipping
you're
stitches.
Not having to manage two separate colors at a time. You're just knitting with one and slipping specific stitches of the alternate color at the same time.
And there are at least 2 pictures of every pattern in this book. Mm-hmm. There's Kushjam, which is a double-sided cushion. So one side has this kind of honeycomb lace, and the other is just straight mosaic. Yeah. As you can see there, and that works up out of Patton's wool. So nice and quick, a worsted one. I like this one. This is the Rock City scarf. Very gender neutral. Mm-hmm. Like the colors. Palette, yeah, the colors that she chose work really well there. Although this guy looks like he should be an extra on like Midsummer Murder Mysteries.
Yeah, he's not sure what's happening, I think. He's like, my girlfriend talked me into just crying on the scarf. There were no pictures involved.
As I murdered someone. Befoliate.
I think bifoliate, maybe?
But, okay. Whichever.
Yeah.
Slouch. So there's a slouch.
Yeah, it has sort of an Aztec look to it.
Yeah. There's this really pretty kind of poncho.
Yeah, like a capelet.
I like how the color work is in big blocks up here. It's striped and then it goes into the mosaic down further.
Yeah, this one is Rippies. Sorry, we're going to mispronounce everything.
And it combines the mosaics. I like how that kind of does the zigzag, and then there's
and this picture here I think shows it nicely. It sort of sits on your shoulder with the netting, and then the heavier section at the bottom is more pattern intensive.
Yep, and several large charts for that. A pair of mitts. And very, very simple slip stitch work on this.
Yeah, with a little bit of lace on the edging. And those are the Puntada mitts, I think.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah, it's a very impactful when it's laid out, but it sort of hides a little bit of that when you put it on. It's like
you slouch it down.
Yeah. And that's the Sardukar.
And that's out of worsted, so that would work up pretty quickly.
Yeah. I do like this a lot.
Really pretty. And
is
can you guys see that like detail? It's like candy cane almost on the sides.
trail. Yeah, it's got sort
like
of
a cable
a rolling I-cord look almost to it. It's very cool looking.
And then a different lace at the bottom.
Yeah, and I think they chose well with the colors there too. And I really dig this hat, actually.
I like it from the top. There's a beanie and a slouchy version of this.
Quatrefoil.
And that's out of a DK, so that would work up pretty quickly as well.
I've actually only ever done a mosaic hat, so that's something I want to try again.
Yep. This is the vest.
Yes.
It's a shawl.
And it's got sort of that honeycombish kind of appearance again as well. This is a stitch I want to try, that particular pattern. I've got a hat in my queue that shares that pattern.
A market bag.
Which has a nice stretch in the body of the bag, but the handle is nice and is more secure, so
yep.
It's designed well. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this one.
Copide? I don't know. I like this one a lot, though, and I like that it's got the alternate color at the bottom. What's cool about this one is this section up here is actually like a little pouch that you knit separately. So it's knit in two pieces, and then there's this like pouch that's knit, which is really cool. It'd be helpful if I could show it to you where you can see it. I'm making fun of myself. But like, it's a little pouch.
I'll show you how to style it.
And then this is what we were talking about. It looks like kind of a piece that you would use to cover your fluffy bits.
Yes, to tuck into your bodice for your modesty. But it does look like a very nice, simple way to try out the mosaic knitting style.
And then there's another pair of mitts, the Willow Bloom. And that's out of Knit Picks Andean Treasure. So it's the baby alpaca. So it gives it kind of almost a fuzzy. I'd like to see it out of another yarn as well. I think that'd be cool. And then Fractured Helix, which has a lot going on, but it uses color really, really well.
Yeah, it's very impactful.
And that's out of Dragonfly Fiber Damsel, which is her sport weight. So it would knit up, I would think, fairly quickly. In the back, there are some really, really nice big photographs of different techniques. So you can see exactly how to do a circular cast on or a long tail cast on or knitted cast on. It gives you all those different techniques using picture tutorials in the back as well as some others. So overall, if you're interested in this style of knitting, I think that this is a style, this is those two styles together, the mosaic and the lace, I've never seen before. And that is Mosaic and Lace Knits by Barbara Benson. It retails for $24.95. Yep, $24.95 in the US. Of course, you can probably get it cheaper on Amazon or someplace else.
Yes.
But overall, really interesting.
And this was given to us for review.
Yep.
Just as a transparency. That's a lovely hat you've got there, dear.
It's keeping me nice and warm, even with my like bun in the back. See, there's all that room in the back for my bun.
Yep, that's what it's there for. As far as stuff that we're reading, I did finish Reign of Madness, which was book 2 in the King's Dark Tidings. I had talked a little bit about how I couldn't get into the King's Dark Tidings, that first book, and I sort of got over that 3-hour hump. And then once I 3-hour hump should be the episode title. Once I got over that little bit, I was able to get into the story. I know, lots of choices this time.
Today.
And it was very good, so I bought the second one on Audible and listened to that over the course of a weekend. I did most of that first band listening, the first Inkle woven band, listening to that one. And then I've read Pirates of Fathoms Deep, which was the sequel to The King's Golden Tongue, which is Laura's favorite book title ever.
It's a great, like, male romance name for a...
And it's not even that dirty. It's just that the Golden Tongue is a reference to someone speaking many languages.
Stop ruining it for me. I also just lost count again.
Sorry. So then I read another book by the same author, Megan Durr, called Tournament of Losers, which is...
Another great name.
It's okay.
She should just name other people's books for them.
Oh wait, it gets better. I'm trying to listen to a book called Red Sister, which is sort of an epic fantasy, but the treatment of the kids in the book is really harsh, and I've gotten to the point where I've been like nauseous a few times, so I don't know that I'm going to be able to finish it. But I did, for fluff, switch out.
That's like that and incest are like the deal breakers.
Yeah, there are some things where it gets too, and you abuse an animal, I'm done. I don't care if it wins a Nobel Prize. I'm not reading it. But I did also listen to Cowboys Don't Ride Unicorns.
How was that?
It was cute. I mean, it's a male romance, so there is some explicit fun times in there. But it's the unicorn that is referenced is a femme gay man. Are they a
shifter?
No.
Oh.
It's set in just like modern times. There's no fantasy aspect to it. But it's like a very effeminate gay man who likes to dominate other people. So that's the unicorn.
Man, if it was a real unicorn, you would have had me sold.
No.
So now I'm not so much.
I bought it thinking it was.
Of course you did. Who would not?
Because I'm a weirdo. Welcome to the show if you've never been here. But anyway, that's what I've been reading. What have you been reading?
I read a book for work today. At work, actually. I read Well, That Was Awkward. It's by Rachel Vale. It is about an 8th grade girl who lives in New York City, and she has grown up without a sister. So before she was born, 3 years before she was born, her sister, who was 7 at the time, got hit by a car and killed, basically.
Okay.
Ran into the street and got hit by a car and killed. And so she's always, it starts off with like, she had a teacher who said, we're gonna chart siblings, like we're gonna do a chart, and so how many siblings do you have? And she's like, I never know how to answer 0 or 1, like how do you answer that question?
Yeah.
And her sister was always like the perfect child, or there was something to do, and now I can't remember how they described her, but when she was born, her cousin told her that like she saved the family because she was such the always happy, always smiling child, and she's kind of grown up with that in her mind, that she always has to be happy and she always has to be smiling, and she's her parents' sunshine is how they describe it. But things aren't so sunshiny in her life because 8th grade girl, hello. And so it's actually based on, is it Cicero? Maybe? I don't know. So it's like a comedy of errors, almost Shakespearean, where her best friend kind of likes this boy and he kind of likes her, but she can't really talk to him. So the main character ends up texting for her what to say. And so it becomes this whole like, boy-girl drama in addition to the dead sister aspect. But it fluctuates between being very funny and having some very real moments, because at one point, this was what really stuck with me, is she and her best friend are hanging out, and her best friend gives her a compliment, like, oh, you're so funny.
Yeah.
And she deflects, and she's like, yeah, but I've got a big nose.
Yeah.
And they make a pact to don't say negative. When someone compliments you, especially as women, our first reaction, and they say that in the book, our first reaction is to deflect and say something negative about it. Point something out negative, and they make a pact not to do that. So there's these moments, these glimpses in it where there's some absolute truth being spoken that's really, I think, important for my kids to read at some points.
I think that's beneficial because even as an adult, you can tell a teenager, every single person is unique and different. Don't listen to these kids. They have no impact on your real life after school. None of this matters, but when you're in that moment, you're an old person, and your opinion isn't always super relevant.
Well, when you're living in that moment, it's totally different. Plus, teenagers' brains develop differently. Another thing that she says that I really like, that I've heard like Bob from Drag Race say, is like, find something that you like about yourself. Mm-hmm. Even if it's like, I like this one tooth, and she says her toes. I really, really like my toes. I don't like the rest of my body, but I really like my toes. I have really awesome toes. And so start with that one thing and build up your confidence based on it. So there's a lot of like great teachable moments in the book too. And there's just some really great moments in general in the book. It does have texting dialogue, so if that bothers you, like, I could not figure out what GN stood for like 3 pages. Good night.
Oh.
Like, there were some, like, acronyms that I was like, and I had to really sit there and think. It's a book that I would reread. I really enjoyed it. I really just skimmed through it at work. It was a quick read for me. I read it probably in 4 periods, so 3 hours maybe. So, but it was cute, realistic, funny but sad at the same time, very truthful in moments, just an overall really good read. So I liked it. And that was awkward. And it's got pictures of, like, and a nice diverse cast of characters. For sure. But not, like, making it like, I have this person just to make,
There's
like,
no token black guy just to be a token.
Yeah, it was just, like, nice and rounded out, well-fleshed characters that were nice and diverse. And girls hanging out with guys, too. And they all live, like, some of them live in, like, similar apartment, because it's New York City, so some of them live in the same apartment complex, some of them don't. Yeah. So, anyway. And there's a lot of facts about turtles as well. Because she really wants a turtle, and her parents won't let her get a pet because it's just one more thing that's going to die, and they can't deal with the death aspects. Ooh. So.
That's cheerful.
Yeah. I mean,
but
it's very realistic.
We're going to go to the Renaissance Fair
this weekend. As long as it doesn't rain, which I don't think it's supposed to.
Yeah.
So there's an eclipse this week, right?
It's the
next
21st,
Monday, right?
Yeah, so it's next Monday.
I have to find glasses somewhere.
I think it's next Monday.
Because I keep reading it's the next Monday, I think.
Yeah.
I keep reading all these things about how you'll go blind if you stare at the eclipse, like the science behind it, so I need to get glasses.
Yeah. We have some here.
Do you?
Michael ordered some, so I'll give you a pair.
Awesome.
Because of course Michael ordered some.
Of course.
Like 3 months ago.
From the third-party vendors at Amazon. Did you hear about that? Like, there were third-party vendors on Amazon that were selling, like, bootleg.
Oh.
They were imprinting them with, like, the NASA logo and stuff.
Oh, no.
He should see if they were
I'll have to tell him, but, no, they didn't look super fancy or anything, but yeah, so we're going to do the Renaissance Fair this weekend. And
as long as it doesn't rain. Because it's outdoors.
Have a dragon tell us stories while he serves us ice cream. Apparently that's a thing at this fair.
We can see people joust.
Yes.
We can see jugglers.
We can see a madman have a tea party, apparently.
If we pay extra.
So yeah, there's going to be a lot of silliness.
It's the smallest Renaissance fair in the world.
I've never been, but Laura's been before to the local
This
one.
is only like the 3rd year they've done it, so.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
But they have some really interesting vendors.
Yes, they do.
So
you can get your name on a grain of rice.
Apparently that's a thing. But anyway, I'm looking forward to... I've never been to a Renaissance Fair before, so...
We should go to the real... Like, I guess there's one in Texas that's amazing.
That's like a big one?
Yeah, that's like year-round structures. Like, they own the property
and
everything.
Okay. That's cool. I read a romance novel about something like that once.
There's a Katie McAllister one about that.
Where then the girl gets, like, time transported?
No, I don't do time transport. I don't know which one you're reading.
No,
Maybe I bet you there's a bunch.
From a while back. Anyway, I think that's about it, and I have to watch the on-call phone for somebody, so we're going to wrap it up. But
we are.
We will be back next week with hopefully some funny tales from the Renaissance Fair.
Yeah, and hopefully some more crafting.
Yeah. Maybe we'll actually get some stuff done. Who knows?
Perhaps.
So, you guys have a good week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.